pleasure being with you today. Now, you'll know much more about Earth. Do you know how the seven continents form? They say the continents were once joined in a single supercontinent. Do you know that supercontinent? Well, me and my group mates will explain you that, so you better watch this. Pangaea was surrounded by a global ocean called Pantalasan. It was fully assembled by the early Permian period, or some 299 million to 272 million years ago. The supercontinent began to break apart about 200 million years ago. During the early Jurassic period, or 201 million to 174 million years ago, eventually forming the modern continents and the Atlantic and Indian Ocean. Pangaea's existence was first proposed in 1912 by German meteorologist Alfred Wegener as a part of this theory of continental drift. Its name is derived from the Greek Pangaea, meaning all the earth. During the early Permian, the northwestern coastline of the ancient continent Gondwana, a paleocontinent that would eventually fragment to become South America, India, Africa, Australia, and Antarctica, collided with and joined the southern part of Euramerica, or a paleocontinent made up of North America and Southern Europe, with the fusion of the Angaran Craton, or the stable interior portion of a
Go.
continent of Siberia to the combined landmass during the middle of the early Permian. The assemble of Pangaea was complete. Cetacea, a landmass comprising the former tectonic plates of North and South China, was not incorporated into Pangaea. Rather, it formed a separate, much smaller continent within the global ocean Pantalasan. The mechanism for the breakup of Pangaea is now explained in terms of plate tectonics, rather than Wegener's outmoded concept of continental drift, which simply stated that the Earth's continents were once joined together into the supercontinent Pangaea that lasted for most geologic time. Plate tectonics states the Earth's outer shell of lithosphere consists of large rigid plates that move apart at oceanic ridges, come together at subduction zones, or slip past one another along fault lines. The pattern of seafloor spreading indicates that Pangaea did not break apart all at once but rather fragmented in distinct stages. Plate tectonics also postulates that the continents joined with one another and broke apart several times in Earth's geologic history. The first ocean formed from the breakup, some 180 million years ago, were the Central Atlantic Ocean between northwestern Africa and North America, and the southwestern Indian Ocean between Africa and Antarctica. The South Atlantic Ocean opened about 140 million years ago as Africa separated from South America. About the same time, India separated from Antarctica and Australia, forming the Central Indian Ocean. Finally, about 80 million years ago, North America separated from Europe. Australia began to drift away from Antarctica, and India broke away from Madagascar. India eventually collided with Eurasia approximately 50 million years ago, forming the Himalayas. During the Earth's long history, there probably have been several Pangaea-like supercontinents. The oldest of those supercontinents is called Rodinia and was formed during Precambrian time some 1 billion years ago. Another Pangaea-like supercontinent, Pannotia, was assembled 600 million years ago. At the end of the Precambrian, present-day plate motions are bringing the continents together. Once again, Africa has begun to collide with southern Europe, and the Australian plate is now colliding with Southeast Asia. Within the next 50 million years, Africa and Australia will merge with Eurasia to form a supercontinent that approaches Pangaean proportions. That episodic assemble of the world's land masses has been called the supercontinent cycle, or Wegenerian cycle, in honor of Wegener, or sea plate tectonics supercontinent cycle. Pangaea was a supercontinent that existed during the late Paleogesic and early Mesozoic eras. It formed approximately 300 million years ago and began to break apart after about 100 million years. Unlike the present Earth, much of the landmass was in the southern hemisphere. Pangaea was the first reconstructed supercontinent and it was surrounded by a superocean Pantalasa.
The North Atlantic breakup is a geological event that occurred over millions of years, during which the supercontinent Pangaea broke up. As modern-day Europe or Eurasian plate and North American plate separated during the final breakup of Pangaea and the early Cenozoic era. They formed the North Atlantic Ocean. Geologists believe the breakup occurred either due to primary processes of lithospheric extension from plate tectonics.
Major phase in the breakup of Pangaea began in the early Cretaceous, 150 to 140 MA, when the minor supercontinent of Gondwana separated into multiple continents: Africa, South America, India, Antarctica, and Australia. About 200 MA, the continent of Crimea, as mentioned above, sea formation of Pangaea, collided with Eurasia. However, a subduction zone was forming, a zone as Samaria collided. This subduction zone is called the Titan Trench. This trench might have subducted what is called the Titan Mid-Ocean Ridge, a ridge responsible for the Tides Ocean's expansion. It probably caused Africa, India, and Australia to move northward, and the early Cretaceous, Atlantica, to the South America and Africa. Finally, separated from eastern Gondwana, Antarctica, India, and Australia, causing the opening of the South Indian Ocean. In the Middle Cretaceous, Gondwana fragmented to open up the South Atlantic Ocean as South America started to move westward away from Africa. The South Atlantic did not develop uniformly, rather it drifted from south to north. Also, at the same time, Madagascar and India began to separate from Antarctica and move northward, opening up the Indian Ocean. Madagascar and India separated from each other 1,900 ME in the late Cretaceous. India continued to move northward toward Eurasia at 15 centimeters, or 6 N, a year, a plate tectonic record, closing the Tides Ocean, while Madagascar stopped and became locked to the African plate. New Zealand, New Caledonia, and the rest of Zealand began to separate from Australia, moving eastward toward the Pacific and opening the Coral Sea and Tasman Sea.
The third and final phase of breakup of Pangaea occurred in the early Cenozoic or Paleocene Oligocene. Laurasia split to North America or Greenland, or also called Laurentia, broke free from Eurasia, opening the Norwegian Sea about 60 to 55 MA. The Atlantic and Indian Oceans continued to expand, closing the Tethys Ocean. Meanwhile, Australia split from Antarctica and moved rapidly northward, just as India had done more than 40 million years before. It is currently on a collision course with Eastern Asia. Both Australia and India are currently moving northeast at 5 to 6 centimeters or 2 to 3 inches a year. Antarctica has been near or at the South Pole since the formation of Pangaea about 280 MA. India started to collide with Asia beginning about 35 MA, forming the Himalayan orogeny and also finally closing the Tethys Seaway. This collision continues today. The African plate started to change directions from east to northeast toward Europe, and South America began to move in a northward direction, separating it from Antarctica and allowing complete oceanic circulation around Antarctica for the first time. This motion, together with decreasing atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations, caused a rapid cooling of Antarctica and allowed glaciers to form. This glaciation eventually coalesced into a kilometer-thick ice sheet still today. Other major events took place during the Cenozoic, including the opening of the Gulf of California, the uplift of the Alps, and the opening of the Sea of Japan. The breakup of Pangaea continues today in the Red Sea Reef and East African Reef.
What causes Pangaea to split apart?
Well, the same process that causes the plates to move today. The continental crust blocks the flow of heat. Under the chance and convection currents of the asthenosphere, or the soft plastic layer on which the continental and ocean plates are float. There is an upwelling of magma which caused continental rifting to begin. The East African Rift Valley system is an example of this process.
Pangaea was the latest of a series of a global supercontinents. They have formed at various times since plate tectonics began on Earth. There were three major phases in the breakup of Pangaea. Actually, the first signs of breakthrough came in the Triassic before Pangaea was completely formed. Pangaea broke up about 180 to 200 million years ago. In the early Middle Jurassic, it broke into supercontinents Laurasia and Gondwana before each of these broke into the current continents. One rift resulted in a new ocean, the North Atlantic Ocean. The breakup of Pangaea continues today in the Great Rift Valley in East Africa and Arabia.
To thank the Academy for this award! Anong nakain mo? Ang luto ay ni nanay na may magi-magic sarap at kompleto sa sustansya. Ako at ang magi nagluluto ng ligaya. Uy, pag-asa kay grabe namin sa ano. Nagulina! Summer na lang yun. Nalagtiyam! Max ang mental ko. Max ang mental mo. Max ang mental ko. Max.
When Wingener proposed continental drift, many geologists were contractionists. They thought Earth's incredible mountains were created because our planet was cooling and shrinking since information. And to account for the identical fossils discovered on continents such as South America and Africa, scientists invoked ancient land bridges that was now vanished beneath the sea. Researchers argued over the land bridges right up until the plate tectonic theory was developed, Frankel said. For instance, as geophysicists began to realize that the continental rocks were too light to sink down to the ocean floor, prominent paleontologists instead suggested that the similarities between fossils had been overestimated, Frankel said. Plate tectonics is a widely accepted theory that Earth's crust was fractured into rigid moving plates. In the 1950s and 1960s, scientists discovered the plate edges through magnetic surveys of the ocean floor and through the seismic listening network built to monitor nuclear testing. Alternating patterns of magnetic anomalies of the ocean floor indicated seafloor spreading, where new plate material is born. Magnetic minerals aligned in ancient rocks on continents also showed that continents have shifted relative to one another.
In some part of Africa and South America, fossil remains of Cyanostratus, a Triassic land reptile approximately 3 meters long. In some part of Africa, India, and Antarctica, fossil evidence of the Triassic land reptile Lestrosaurus. In South America, Africa, India, Antarctica, and Australia, fossil of the firm Glossopteros found in all of the southern continents show that they were once joined. And in some part of South America and Africa, fossil remains of the freshwater reptile Mesosaurus.
A map of the continents inspired Reginus Priest to explain Earth's geologic history. He was trained as a meteorologist and intrigued by the interlocking feet of Africa's and South America's fault lines. He then assembled an impressive amount of evidence to show that the continents were once joined in a single supercontinent. Wegener knew that fossil plants and animals, such as Mesosaurus, a freshwater reptile found only in South Africa and America, could be found in many continents. He also matched up rocks on either side of the Atlantic Ocean like puzzle pieces. For example, the Appalachian Mountains in South America and the Caledonian Mountains in Scotland fit together, as do the Karoo strata in South Africa and Santa Catarina rocks in Brazil. Wegener never lived to see his theory gain wider acceptance. He died in 1930 at age 50 for a probable heart attack on an expedition on Greenland.
What is a continental drift? Continental drift was a theory that explained how continents shift position on Earth's surface. Set forth in 1912 by Alfred Wegener. Continental drift also explained why look-alike animal and plant fossils, similar rock formations, are found on different continents. Wegener thought all the continents were once joined together in our continents before breaking up and drifting to their current positions. But geologists soundly denounced Wegener's theory of continental drift after he published the details in a 1915 book called The Origin of Continents and Oceans. Part of the opposition was because Wegener didn't have a good model to explain.
Simula kasi katawa!
Can I ask you something? What? What is continental drift? Continental drift was a theory that explained how continents shift position on Earth's surface. Set forth in 1912 by Alfred Wegener, continental drift also explained why look-alike animal and plant fossils, similar rock formations, are found on different continents. Wegener thought all the continents were once joined together and on our continent before breaking up and drifting to their current positions. But geologists soundly denounced Wegener's story of continental drift after he published details in a 1915 book called The Origin of Continents and Oceans. Part of the opposition was because Wegener didn't have a good model to explain how the continents move apart.
You and I in a little toy shop, buy a bag of balloons with the money we got, set them free at the break of dawn, till one by one they were gone. Back at base, bugs in the software flashed the message, something's out there floating in a summer sky. 99 red balloons go by.
Sinabon ko naman, ba't ayaw kuminis?
Girl, tama ng drama. For your face, use Eskinol. Para linis-kinis.
The causes of continental drift. Continental drift is caused by convection in the mantle. The rigid plates on the Earth's surface are pushed or pulled along the top of the mantle, which is not liquid. The mantle is solid, its consistency like toothpaste or warm chest. The heat from the Earth's core causes mantle convection, and this movement or convection of the mantle pulls along the rigid oceanic and continental plates that are sitting on top it. This process usually happens at a rate of about 3 centimeters a year.